So this video may come across a bit premature, but I think we'll be winning the league. And how stupid will I look when I was slagging off Rafa a couple of months ago? But I guess we're just going to go straight into the video. I mean, it's a review of Everton under Rafa. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Calling him Rafa all of a sudden. But yeah, this is a video, I'm hoping to do it as like a series, where it's like every couple of games, every few games, we go back, review, look at what was good, what was bad, all that. So I think I might title, well, you'll see by the title on the video at the end, but I'm thinking Rafa's Revolution. So I guess we look at the beginning to start off with, a great place as any to start. You look at basically the transfer window. And I'm not sure I'm agreeing with everybody going, we didn't have a great window. I thought it was okay. Like, you look at the signings we brought in. Gray, at the moment, looks to be a bargain. Townsend, Begovic, needed for squad depth. Bringing in Rondon on the final day, a good backup striker, which Benitez has worked with before. It's not bad. We didn't sell any of the big players, like, say, Richarlison or James. And I think that'll be a very good decision, because Richarlison still seems to bring this energy to his game, which has been very impressive considering the fact he played the full season last season. He's done the Olympics and the Copa America. Pretty impressive if you ask me. And we got rid of deadwood players like Bernard, Balassi. Maybe not deadwood in a sense, but they'd never play and upgrade the squad. And the big high earners wouldn't progress us. It made sense to get them off the books. And we did, which we did well with. I think the only way we could have made it a lot better, which I think is the same for a lot of fans, is if we brought more players in terms of to the areas that were needed. And I think the biggest area, which was the problem, is the fullbacks. Right, we let go of Nkunku and we let go of Thierry Small. One's gone on loan, one's gone permanently. We've now only got Luca Dean at left back. So if he gets injured, we're going to have to draft in one of our centre backs, or we're going to have to go into the youth teams. Realistically, we shouldn't be doing that, but we'll lose an attacking threat straight away down that left-hand side. And our right-backs, realistically, was the one we needed to look for. As much as I love John Joe Kenny and I love the passion he's got, I don't feel like he's going to cut it. And it's horrible for me to say, but I don't know whether he'd be able to match Coleman in terms of like ability and effort for a prolonged period of time as well. He might be another case of Tony Hibbert. He'd stay around, he'd have contracts, be an okay backup, but he's not the one that would usurp Coleman. I mean, obviously we're linked with Denzel Dumfries. He would have been ideal. I'd have loved him, but wasn't to be, obviously. And yet again, I think it's 4 years they tried to identify a replacement was needed, and nothing's been done. So I guess realistically the only excuse they've got is financial fair play, but we need a reason. We need an explanation of why business hasn't been done in the summer where it could have been. Because if we lose any fullbacks, which apparently we could do for the Burnley game, which is tomorrow when I'm recording this, we could be in a bit of a situation with only Kenny and Dean left at fullbacks. It's not looking good. But yeah, overall, I think the transfer window, I would say, has been okay for us. Not great, but not awful, like people seem to be saying. Definitely not average, like we've done good business. And for what? 1.5 million spent. The only embarrassing thing being that is a significant drop on everyone else. But we've spent enough and wasted enough money. Maybe it's the time to go for free agents and whatever. And if we're desperate, we go for Sergio Aurier. So we'll jump into the first game. Technically not the first game, we had all the pre-season, but pre-season, realistically, it doesn't count, does it? But we go to Southampton first, and the first game for Rafa Benitez in the Goodison dugout, as part of the home team, obviously.
Look at
what else can you start off? It was a strong team. I think most players in the right positions, and barring for injuries and isolation, I think it was. We had likes of Gomez and Godfrey gone out in isolation, Rodriguez as well, that scenario. But Townsend and Gray both started, if I can remember right, which they did. And they were doing really well. And of course, the first goal at Goodison is one that we concede. It's conceded from a stupid defensive mistake from one of our players. And I have no idea what Michael Keane was doing. And I'm normally a big fan of him. I'm a big supporter of Michael Keane. And I think he's done okay in previous seasons, but wasn't a great way to start your season there, Michael. But we were losing at half time, and it could have been another one of those, oh my gosh, we're going to lose again, we're going to do shit, But then we went out in the second half, and whatever he said at half time, credit to him, it must have really, really worked, because we went out in the second half, we had more of an attitude, more of passion and aggression, and it worked. 3 great goals, Richarlison being a poacher, Calvert-Lewin doing what he does best in terms of with his heading ability, and Doucoure, he's becoming my favourite player. I think he's my favourite player at the club at the moment. With that goal, just topped it off for me. It was absolutely phenomenal. Just a great strike, and the noise that Goodison produced when that went in, beautiful. And we'll miss it when it's gone. So the first away game of the season, Leeds away, already going to be a tricky game. Leeds' first sellout crowd in the Premier League for 17 years. You always knew the atmosphere was going to be absolutely electric. And it was. I mean, I'd go as far to say I think it's probably been the best home atmosphere, outside of maybe Goodison, and the bias and all, but probably, as an away fan, the best home atmosphere I've ever been to. It was just electric for the whole game. The stand, I can't remember the name of it, but the stand that was on the right of us, just bouncing the whole time. And I'm unsure of the rivalry between us and Leeds, whether there is one between them and other teams as well. I'm not sure of, but yeah, it was a bit feisty, but it was good. A proper, something we'd have been missing for so long, for the 18 months where we've not been able to go to an away game. You just loved it straight away. And it was interesting to see how we deal in terms of the anomalies that is Leeds, with their pressure, their energy, the stamina, and we managed to go ahead with a good penalty by Calvert-Lewin, which I think that was going to be the big question of who was going to take the penalties now. Realistically, I always think you should have your striker taking it, because if they're on a barren run of goals, a penalty, realistically, is an easy goal to score. Still difficult, but it's the easiest chance you can get to get a goal, which then can start you running, boost up your record, and it's good. It puts them in a bit more confidence as well, to be able to know that they can tuck one away at least. And yet again, it was a poor defensive mistake, mainly Keane, but also I think the rest of the defenders didn't help. Just poor lapse of concentration, being allowed to let Bamford through, and I think it was Click who got the first goal, and it just didn't set us up great. And I think it was going into half time 1-1. I'd have taken that straight away. I'd have taken a draw at the end of full time, just because of the fact of how we had to deal with Leeds, and we didn't look like we had the energy sometimes. I think we dealt well in terms of defending at times, but the way Leeds just play with counter-attack straight away, bombarding. Like I say, It's a complete anomaly. You don't have many teams playing like that, and it's why we were able to score as well. Early in the second half, actually, with Demarai Gray. What a bargain he's turning out to be. Sublime finish, great little play in the box to try and lose his defenders, and from there, we could have defended so much better, but it was Gray's best game, in my opinion, anyway, and he got the goal which he deserved, and of course we conceded the second one, which I don't really blame anybody for, because one, it was a fantastic finish by, of course, Rafinha, and two, it was coming the whole game. Like the way we set up, it's normal. It's like a normal sort of Benitez setup. If it was going later into the half, we definitely boxed ourselves more up to be more of a wall. And I think just with any other team, the energy would be like sapping away. They wouldn't be able to like put in the effort that they can. But again, Leeds is just a freak anomaly of a side, and they were just relentless and earned themselves the second goal. But I think all in all, it was a fair result. Like an equal game, because Leeds had more domination in terms of like possession and passing and that. But I think Everton had the better chances from my perspective, and we could have easily won that game like 5-2 or something, just because of being able to hit them where we did, and we had just slightest chances with Keane and Calvert-Lewin where we could have made it and we could have won it. But at the end of the day, Calvert-Lewin is still young. He's still only 23, so he's still learning his trade, and he won't come into his prime for another like 3 or 4 years yet. So to get the numbers he's on at the moment, it's still pretty good for a 23-year-old. So everybody needs to get off his back. And then he got a well-deserved rest, with Huddersfield being the next one. So our first cup game.
There you go.
Needed to be a rest for a lot of the players, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin mainly, and then I think the midfield of Allan and Doucoure had worked really hard in the previous 2 games, so they needed a rest as well. And it was our second team, but it was a winnable game away from home in a lower league side, which I'd been speaking to 1 or 2 of the fans beforehand, and they were saying that Huddersfield hadn't been playing that well recently, so realistically it was one we should have won. And it was interesting to see how Rafa would be using the cup games for like rest periods or testing out his other squad, and as well if he was going to take it seriously. So whether we can say he took it seriously properly for this game, but he still played the second team. You know, arguably the players that are on the fringes, likes of Davies, Gabamin, at that point Keane and Iwobi, and it was okay. Like the first half, we definitely more attacked and tried to progress more with the ball, and we didn't look shy, and we got the deserved first goal. Iwobi played well and got his goal, which was definitely good for him. And if we'd scored that, if we'd had that second goal counted, because we've seen the replays back, and then unfortunately there was no VAR, Keane's goal would have counted. That second goal would have counted, and I feel like that would have just changed the game completely, and Huddersfield wouldn't have gone back into it, and I feel we'd have defended a lot better, been more precise, and it would have been fine. We wouldn't have been on edge, because we conceded I think it was right at the end of the half, from sitting back and sort of giving up after the second attempt, which should have counted obviously, but stupid from a corner, stupid conceding from a corner late on, which then put it at half time, and it just wasn't great. And we were quite lucky as well to not concede that second goal from Huddersfield. Or we did, but it obviously got ruled out, and it was for an offside. It was the right call, so fair play to the linesman, it was the right call that time, but we got very lucky again to not concede from a set piece. Is that something that's needing to be worried about in the future, or something we need to look at? only time will tell, especially what we've got with Burnley coming up as well. They're a bit of a set-piece monster, and West Ham will be in a couple of weeks. It could be a problem, but we'll see. We'll see anyway. It might just have been the players on the night. However, I do think 5 at the back, it just doesn't work. In terms of the players that were there and available, with Keane, Holgate and Branthwaite, just it doesn't suit. It doesn't suit, especially with the midfield being Davies and Gbamin. I think Davies needs a shout out though, because I thought he played well. And Gbamin didn't do too bad, but it was to be expected considering the fact it was like his first action back in about another 9 months or so. And then Keane obviously being sent off, which I think it was probably best for everyone considering the fact he didn't look interested after the goal was ruled out. And it showed that Rafa needs to analyse the game more and play it a different way. With losing our striker, we had to rotate, and I think Iwobi started drifting more into the middle when he brought on, I think it was Nkunku, possibly. No, it was Dean he brought on, and so it had to be adapted more, and Iwobi was moving more centrally, and it was weird because we almost played better with 10 men because we had to be more concentrated, more disciplined, and then that second goal was phenomenal play. Gomez looked revitalised, Townsend with a good finish, and went away with a good result into the next half for the next round, which was against QPR, which will probably be covered on another video because it'll be played. And then, of course, the final game before the international break was Brighton away. Realistically, this was the toughest one, I would say, so far. Brighton don't have a bad squad and don't have a bad manager in terms of Graham Potter, especially with how they were last season. I think it was only 3rd in top scoring in XG, if that's such a thing. But it was a must-win game for Rafa with how Brighton set up, and hopefully making the 12 hours of travel worth going to for once. And again, Gray was brilliant. And I actually think this was Townsend's best game for Everton. But the way we've set up in terms of with this 4-4-2, the midfield, and whatever Benitez has said to Doucoure in terms of him saying he wants to be more an attacking threat and help carry the ball and help progress the team, it's worked so far. Allan and Doucoure together have been absolutely insane, with Allan obviously getting the assist for the Gray goal, and then I think it was setting up the penalty with the pass through to Coleman, with then Coleman getting fouled. And it was interesting, that second goal. It was another good penalty by Calvert-Lewin. However, it was the same place as the one in the Leeds game, which maybe if we had Richarlison taking it, wouldn't have been the case. But then we also don't know if he would have scored it. So I'm hoping. It's a weird one because you don't know now. If, say, Calvert-Lewin gets another penalty, will he go for the same place? Is that how he feels confident in terms of with his run-up? Or is he using this to psych up, but when he gets the next one, the keeper thinks he's going to go in the same position and he'll go somewhere else? We don't know, but yeah. We halted the Brighton midfield and attack really well. When we were a little bit shaky, I think in the start of the second half, normally is the case with most teams when you face them, they come out in the second half or wanting to get back in it. And we did well. And earned the win, which was finally needed. And we went on for an unbeaten start, which has done well so far. And Graham Benitez obviously both getting their nominations. Gray for Player of the Month, Benitez for Manager of the Month, well deserved. Been fantastic in all the games he's played, Gray. And Benitez obviously with the unbeaten start. Benitez having his unbeaten start, as much as it's brilliant, we can't also overthink it. You know, we had Leeds, we had Brighton, and we had Southampton, and we had Huddersfield. All teams realistically we should be beating in terms of on paper the squad we've got. So, yes, obviously you can only beat what's in front of you. So Benitez has done very well in that respect. However, it will be interesting to see what happens when he faces against the teams that are on paper better. So your likes of United's or City's or Tottenham's, or for example, ones that are doing very well at the moment, Leicester's, your West Ham's. So, yeah, great results, great run of form, should really be expected. So I'm not obviously trying to take any of the credit away from him, away from Benitez. However, we all got overconfident last season with Ancelotti, and look what happened then. So, but at least he didn't win Manager of the Month, which Nuno did, and then the curse happened there. So, but yeah, we've got Burnley next, and then I think it's another tough couple of games. So we've got West Ham at home, Norwich at home, and United away. And then obviously the QPR game as well, and Villa away. So that will be interesting to see what happens in those games. But if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like. Leave your comments down below. What do you think of the new revolution under Rafael Benitez at Everton? I've been impressed. I'm impressed so far, but again, trying to keep a level head. But yeah, we'll see you for the next video anyway.